Now, the Electoral Commission has drafted a constitutional instrument that will be heading to Parliament. Before they did that, they had engaged the members of Parliament's Committee on Subsidiary Legislation. Now, our parliamentary processes are designed in such a way that there are two committees that are chaired by the minority in Parliament. One of them is the Public Accounts Committee, which we already know. The other one is the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, is also chaired by the minority. Very interesting development in our constitutional provisions. Very, very good. That the minority will chair the constitutional the subsidiary legislation, so that government cannot pass legislation politically motivated, etc., etc. And then, of course, the Public Accounts Committee, which is to protect the public purse, also chaired by the minority. Now, the Electoral Commission has engaged with them. So what's the confusion now? The Electoral Commission says, I'm going to open voters register again. Now, I found out from them that they are not doing an entirely new voters register. So for those of us who have a voters ID card, who voted in 2020, it's still valid. Whatever you did in 2020 is still valid. You can use that card. What you are doing right now is to add new voters, because every year people turn 18. So over the last period, people have been turning 18. Let's get to the details of this, and then we will come back and look at it. So this is the narrative. Electoral Commission has sent a constitutional instrument to Parliament that will enable continuous registration, except up to 60 days before the elections. The sole document for this will be the Ghana card. So that's the problem. Electoral Commission says it's doing a voters registration exercise for new voters. It will be continuous. Continuous means that they don't have a date and start. The only exception is that they cannot be registering voters by the law within 60 days before the election. So if it's 60 days before the election, Electoral Commission must stop. Electoral Commission is telling us that they're going to begin the exercise, and it will be continuous. So you don't need to go and queue. It's a long period. When you turn 18, you just show up at your district office. But let's go on to the narrative and continue. It continues to say that Ghana card will eliminate the guarantor system because the information on it is complete, with parents' names and all, including nationality and age. So there's usually a guarantor system when we are doing voters registration, because we want to be sure that the people are Ghanaians. So if I go and there's doubt, somebody comes with me and says that is my son, is my daughter, is my uncle, I know him and all of that. A lot of the information about an individual's lineage within the context of being a Ghanaian is available on the Ghana card already. So if I go Ghana card, Paul Adom-Otchere, my mother is X something, and so she also has a Ghana card, so they can quickly see. So they put Paul Adom-Otchere down. They say that this is Paul Adom-Ochere's mother is X person who may be deceased, father is there, sister is there. The sister's Ghana card also comes. The uncle's Ghana card also comes. So the Ghana card contains all that composite information that you need to determine whether a person is Ghanaian or not. Okay, so that's what they are saying, that the Ghana card has everything. So they are not going to use any other document. It goes on. The process will occur in the district offices, but the CI allows the Electoral Commission to add a few more centers in districts where some communities are too far away from the EC offices. The Statistical Service reports that by 2023, about 19.5 million Ghanaians will be above the age of 18 and beyond the voting age. So that's the important information. Let's take that again. The Statistical Service reports that by 2023, about 19.5 million Ghanaians will be above the age of 18 and beyond the voting age. So 19 out of the 30 million will be above the age of 18. So what does this mean? It doesn't mean that we're going to register 19 million new voters. No. Electoral Commission says that of this 19.5 million, that the Statistical Service is anticipating that they will be above the age of 18 by 2023. They have already captured 17 million of them. EC says they've captured 17 million. So technically, by the end of 2023, they are looking for 2.5 million more people to add. It will be more because the process continues until October 2024, okay? So that will be more. Now, for those group of people, that 2.5 million that need to go and register because they become 18, the Ghana card will be the sole documentation to be able to register. Let's move on, and then we'll come to the issues. Okay, 17 million Ghanaians are already captured in the process in the last voter registration exercise. It is anticipated that about 2 million or so people will be added to the electoral roll. All of them will need a Ghana card to register. A proposed amendment by the minority in Parliament to include guarantor system will struggle without the support of the majority in the face of Article 11.7 of the 1992 Constitution. Can they just send me Article 11.7 on my phone so I can read it? Now, so when the conversations started, when the conversations continued, is that Article 11.7 they're giving me? Okay, fantastic. All right, they work on it and get it back for me. When the conversations continued in the Parliament, the minority in Parliament recommended that the guarantor system be added to the ID card, the Ghana card, so that if somebody shows up and doesn't have a Ghana card, have somebody to guarantee that he's Ghanaian, have somebody who is already on the electoral roll to guarantee that he's Ghanaian. Electoral Commission doesn't want to do that. They say that if you are 17, 16, and you are turning 18 by the time of the elections or by the time the registration exercise is open, which is just those who are 17 and 16 now, they can do that. You need to keep an eye on the Ghana card and procure a Ghana card. And that's very possible because the Ghana card is rolling very, very fast. Because without a Ghana card, you cannot do that. Okay. So when they put Article 11.7 there, I'll show you what we're talking about. Now, the Constitution is very interesting, and this is one of the parts that may need an amendment, because what it is that if an authority under the Constitution lays a constitutional instrument in Parliament, that constitutional instrument will be ripe for implementation after 21 days of its laying, unless and until 2/3 of the members of Parliament are able to vote against it. Very interesting that when an authority, whether it is Commission for Human Rights, whether it is Electoral Commission, and all of those authorities under the Constitution, including the President, executive instrument, ministers and all that, when they lay a document in Parliament, the document will last for 21 days. After 21 days, that document is as good as law until 2/3 of the members of Parliament rise up against it. Now, that may not happen in the circumstance of the Parliament that you have. It will take a long time for you to have a single opinion in Parliament dominating 2/3 of it. That is to say, one political party wins 75% of the seats in Parliament. That's not even good for our democracy. That's not going to happen in a very long time. So as it is now, in spite of the concerns raised by the minority, even at the subsidiary legislation committee level, this CI by the Electoral Commission is going to pass unless and until the majority and the minority come together to raise a 75% quantum of voice against the bill. Until then, the bill is passing. Okay, so here we are. Article 11 is what I'm looking for. 11.7, okay, it's here. Yes, 11.7 is here. So I read it. Oh, beautiful. They're making it bigger for us. All right. Article 11.7 is here. It says, any order, rule, or regulation made by a person or authority under a power conferred by this Constitution or any other law shall A, be laid before Parliament, B, be published in the Gazette on the day it is laid before Parliament, and C, come into force at the expiration of 21 sitting days after being so laid, unless Parliament, before the expiration of the 21 days, annuls the order, the rule, or the regulation by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament. Very, very instructive. This is a provision that I would say is one of those that shows the dictatorial tendency of the Constitution, for which we say it was designed for a dictator. If a minister lays something, any authority under the Constitution lays something, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's laid, it will be there for 21 days. It passes unless 2/3 of Parliament say that they don't want it. So this Electoral Commission's thing is most likely going to pass. Okay, it's bigger here. Maybe all of us can see. Any order, rule, or regulation made by a person or authority under the power conferred by this Constitution or any other law shall A, be laid before Parliament, B, be published in the Gazette on the day it is laid before Parliament, and C, come into force at the expiration of 21 sitting days, being so laid, unless Parliament, before the expiration of the 21 days, annuls the order, rule, or regulation by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament. So until and unless 2/3 of members of Parliament say they don't want a voter registration exercise beginning next year, which will require only the Ghana card, that rule will pass. So young people, don't get into the politics. Get your Ghana card. You're 16, you're 17. Get your Ghana card. That's the only way that you can get on the electoral roll. I think that we needed to make this clarification. As we keep on looking at, the CI has not yet been laid, so anything can happen. Consultations are still going on. We don't know how the consultations will go. We'll look at that and then follow what happens. But this is the story on the Electoral Commission.